there, and welcome to another video by Shana Rivers, part of the Atlanta Home Experts team here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm gonna try to not make this video too long because it's kind of a interesting topic, and it's on the topic of choosing a real estate agent. And I'm driving, but I thought I'd go ahead and do a video. So I'm trying to do more videos and get consistent, so I got to do it when I can find the time to do it. So choosing a real estate agent, I feel like everybody knows multiple real estate agents. You have some people that automatically are drawn to people that they know, which is great. And then you have some people who will research and, try to find one, or some people don't want to work with people they know because maybe they don't want them all up in their business. Anyway, do you even need a real estate agent? So you don't have to have a real estate agent, especially if you know what you're doing. However, I would highly suggest that you hire a real estate agent to help facilitate you in your transaction. It is a very big transaction if you're buying a home or selling a home. You definitely want to have all the resources available to you that are available on the professional side of the transaction. It costs you nothing to hire a real estate agent as a buyer. As a buyer, it costs you $0 to hire me or whoever you're going to hire to represent you in this transaction, most of the time. So, what can I say? When you are getting ready to start the process or thinking about buying a home, it is great to go ahead and start looking for your real estate agent. Who do I want to represent me? Who do I want to work with me? Who do I want to be hand in hand with during this transaction? Getting ready to find a real estate agent, what you want to do is look them up. You may be following like 20 of them on Instagram. Look them up, find out about them, read their reviews, send them messages, set up an interview. Like, you're the one that's actually hiring us to represent you. We are not the boss, So when you're thinking about who you want to represent you, it's okay to call them up, ask them a few questions, see if your personality meshes well with them, see if they can complement your personality and your style of how you're going to be. Like, if I'm going to be difficult, I'm going to be crazy, does this person have the temperament to deal with me? Let me go ahead and find that out in advance. You definitely want to make sure that you guys can get along and that they're about their business. Whatever agent you choose is going to be about their business, making sure that the transaction goes smoothly, making sure they're giving you all the resources that you need to have the best transaction that's fitting for you, your budget. You definitely don't want to have an agent that is stressing like to max out your budget. I get all kind of horror stories about that. This last agent just kept sending me houses that were crappy, or this last agent that just kept sending me houses that I wasn't, and I wasn't liking them, or they were out of my budget, or they were at the max and I told her where I wanted to be, or him where I wanted to be. So it's important that when you do sit down and talk to your agent after you've been, even if you're talking to them before, you want to make sure that you're comfortable in the whole transaction, down to what you want to pay per month. I know sometimes we want to have this humongous house, and maybe we follow people that show like a luxury homes or things like that, and that's what we want. But if your budget does not match that, make sure that, and I'm not saying it could match it, but comfortably, and what's in your comfort level to spend per month. Because what you don't want to do is get yourself in a situation where you can't even enjoy your home. You're just working to make sure that you can make the payments. when you're looking for an agent, you want to make sure it's someone that has the time for you. You may not need a lot of time. When you finally do select the agent that you're going to use for your transaction, normally there's a form, and it's called the buyer brokerage agreement. And basically it's a contract of the relationship that we're forming. And it's basically a loyalty agreement. Like, I'm here for you, I work for you, and I expect you to, be loyal to me. This industry can be very catty. Us real estate agents, we don't get any money until you actually close on your house. Also, we don't want to waste our time or your time. And what I find is that there are a lot of buyers that have no problem wasting time, wasting other people's time. And it can be inconsiderate, And the one thing I do whenever I have a buyer that kind of comes to me, I want to make sure that they're not working with another agent, because it's not fair, And I believe in the law of sowing and reaping, and that I will reap what I sow. So I'm big, like, I will not steal another person's client. I will not encourage them to leave their agent if they come to me and they're like, yeah, I'm working with such and such. No, you need to go back to them. You need to make sure you're getting your advice from that person. It gets very tricky. You're following a lot of different agents. You're seeing a lot of different information. That's why it's important up front to go ahead and choose based upon your research, based upon your interviewing, based upon what you need in your transaction and for your personality style. There are people that will come in like 10 different agents inbox, asking them questions, getting answers, and like, we're investing time. We invest a lot of time in getting our information and making sure that we're giving out the most accurate information. And once you have chosen your real estate agent, you really should cut off communicating your transaction with anybody else. Don't come to your agent like, oh, well, this person said, that their person closed on a house and paid nothing, and they got money back at the closing table. You don't know the whole thing. Like, you don't know all the details that went along with that. So you can't really compare your transaction to somebody else's, if that makes sense. And a lot of times what I see in just dealing with that is you'll see people posting half stories. They don't tell, yes, they may have gotten money back at closing, but they don't tell that money was theirs already. Those people aren't just getting money at the closing table. Like, this isn't a tax refund, and I don't have a job, but I have the kids, and now I'm getting, that credit. That's not how it works. So, when you do get your agent, be loyal to your agent. Be loyal to them. Come to them for any concerns that you may have, any kind of way you're feeling during the transaction. Like, let them know, like, hey, I don't like the way this went or whatever. Like, don't just use your agent. Make them show you houses, give you information, give you their lender and all this kind of stuff, give you all their resources. Next thing you know, you're closing on a house with somebody else. If your agent did something to offend you or whatever, during the process, go ahead and let them know, like, hey, I'm not going to work with you anymore. It's okay. Like, that contract can easily come to an end with one simple sentence: I no longer wish to work with you. I no longer wish for you to represent me. That way, that agent is not just lost in trying to figure out where their client went. If they're not being a good agent, then it's your responsibility to let them know so that they can grow and so that they can do better, right? Up front, your agent should establish expectations during the transaction, and you should do the same thing. These are things that I expect if I'm hiring you to work with you. Not like a dictatorship, but like you're creating a business relationship, and every party should be satisfied and happy at the end. So ultimately, in choosing your agent, make sure that that person is going to work for you. Make sure that that person cares, and make sure that that person knows what they're doing. And I'm not saying you can't give new agents a chance, a try. I was a new agent. People gave me a chance and a try. Being realistic. Your agent cannot create the perfect house for you or find you a price outside of your budget that is a big mansion. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm just recapping that I do believe in the law of reaping and sowing. Don't do nobody dirty. Period. If that's your agent, that's your agent. Don't use one person, jump to another person because you want what you want when you want it. Also be mindful, your agents, we have families, we're working with other clients, and we may not always be, I want to look at a house right now. Some of us have process and procedures in place, meaning if you're not approved for a home, we don't want to waste time. Like, we just don't want to waste time. We want to make sure that you can afford what we're even looking at. It's just so much that goes into our job. So respect, loyalty, these are just the things, and definitely you want to make sure your agent is educated, can help you, can direct you, and ultimately get you to the closing table. And to help you, I just wanted to end this video while I have on the same outfit at least. Yeah, like my little Realtor pin. Anywho, I will talk to you guys later, and I might have said this already, but if you would like to interview with me or talk to me about being your agent in the Atlanta area, I will be more than happy to help you. I'm gonna take a nap before I have to make dinner for my children and get back up and get to work on the side that you guys don't see on social media. Have a great evening or day or morning or whatever it is that you're watching this.